Hey guys, welcome to the Crouch Ranch. So today, we skipped spring around here. I don't know about you guys, but I think a lot of places this year kind of skipped spring. And unfortunately, we went straight to a heat wave, straight to summer, straight to triple digits. We went from literally from rain and June gloom and fogginess and mist to like some weather. So a lot of people I think are getting a late start on some of their baby birds this year. So I thought we'd just take a second and kind of talk about your basics for getting your birds started. I'm just gonna come sit out here and dip my feet in the pool while I talk to you guys for a minute, because why not, right? Before I go run some errands. I just finished checking on all the birds and watering them. I've got some kiddie pools out so they can walk in them and keep their feet cool, because that's actually one of the best ways to keep the birds cool. You really don't want to soak their feathers, because then they can't dust themselves, and getting air in between their feathers is actually how they keep themselves cool besides their feet. So, and of course having access to, maybe watermelon or some cold water or cool, water anyway. But that's besides the point. So, getting started with your chicks, since a lot of people might be getting ready to do that right about now. You can either start them from eggs, or you can go buy baby birds. If you're starting from eggs, you want to make sure that you get eggs that are freshly fertilized and have been stored properly between when they get to you and when they came from the chicken. So you don't want them sitting around on a counter for 3 weeks before you try to incubate them. You want to be able to keep them straight from the bird, as close to that as you can, or around 60 degrees, I believe, is the temperature there. But ideally you want to pretty much take them and put them either straight under your broody hen, if you have a broody hen, or you want to stick them straight into your incubator. And you want to make sure that you have a good incubator, one that's going to keep a consistent temperature and a consistent humidity. And those are things that you're going to have to monitor several times a day. You also want to make sure it's got a good egg turner that you can rely on. And we actually have one that we purchased this last season, because my old one finally died, that is on our Amazon store page front. So go check that out if you're interested in seeing what kind of incubator we use. But yeah, you want to get them into the incubator. You want to put them pointy side down, so that the bulb of the egg is side up, sticking up in the air. And you're going to incubate those chicken eggs. Chickens typically take 21 days. You might have a couple early birds, you might have a couple late bloomers, but so I always say somewhere between the 19 to usually 23 day range for chickens. It's just like human babies. They don't always come out when they're supposed to. Sometimes they come out sooner, sometimes they come out a little later. So once you get them hatched, if you're doing them in an incubator, you want to let them fluff out in the incubator. I usually do it for a day or two, depending on how many other eggs I have in there that are also due to hatch. If they're all close to hatching, and I can hear other ones starting to, peck and chirp in their shells, even if they haven't piped yet, I might go ahead and pull that bird if it's already been a day and a half. I don't like to leave them in there for any more than 48 hours. You can leave them in there for 72 hours. They can do fine without food and water. They're still living off of the yolk, basically, from hatching. But I prefer to pull them a little sooner than that. If you've got them under a broody hen and they're hatching, if you're going to then pull the chicks and put them in the brooder, I again will wait 24 hours until they've fluffed out, or if there's other birds also hatching. So I just kind of monitor to see, and also what the hen's interest in them is. Sometimes once one starts to hatch, they bail. So you kind of have to keep an eye on those hens when they go broody, if you decide to let it happen naturally, before you grab them and stick them into your brooder. So your brooder, you want to make sure that you've got heat lamps, that you've got proper bedding. I like to use pine shavings. There's a lot of different things you can use. So I'm not here to debate that with you. I personally recommend pine shavings. That's what I like. As far as the bedding goes, you want food and water. A lot of people will tell you to get the medicated chick feed, or to put the antibiotic stuff in the water. I do not do that. I do not recommend it. I don't like it. I don't like to medicate my animals unless they're sick. So they have access to food, they have access to water. You want to make sure that you have a good chick starter. The King Feed Freedom feed that I use, their broiler crumbles are actually the same as their chick starter. So I don't have to buy another kind of feed. I just use the same one for them, and it's perfect. It's exactly the same stuff in it. You want to make sure that that's all they're having, because if they don't have access to any grit, they can't break down like your layer pellets and stuff like that. So they need to have that, you know, just those proteins that they can actually break down and eat for that food. Because without the grit, they can't break down the regular layer pellets that you would feed your hens. However, if you've let your hen that has hatched those chicks, if she was broody, and you've let her now take them out in the yard and you're just letting nature take its course, those birds have access to grit. So those babies can go ahead and eat that other stuff if that's all you have. They'll be already foraging for worms and bugs and all that stuff. So, you know, those guys, don't worry about it if you're going that route. And you get them in that incubator, or I'm sorry, in that brooder, and then you're gonna just wanna check their feathers, check the heat. This time of year, it gets warmer faster right now. So I actually right now, even though I have some chicks in there, they're only a few days old, I've got the heat lamp off in there right now because I don't need to cook them. I don't want fried chicken. I just want warm chicken. So I've actually turned off the brooder light in there during the day the last few days because it's been triple digits and they're in there panting as it is. So you got to monitor them, and then of course raise the heat lamp up so that they feather out and then they adjust to the climate. And then once they're ready, you can go ahead and incorporate them into your flock. Because my brooder is right up against my coop, my girls are already used to seeing each other. So it's already like they've been in a cage next to them, just like you would do if you were introducing a new hen or a roux to your flock that you wanted them to adjust to them before they could do pecking order or whatever. They've already done that because they're already caged next to each other and can see each other. So I go ahead and put them in at night, put them in on the roost. I leave them locked in their run instead of letting them free range for at least 3 days. This lets the new chicks establish that this is home base, this is where we want to be, this is where we go at night, and they kind of get the drill. After that, I start letting them out, and then I just, of course, make sure, especially for that first week, that I double check that everybody did make it up into the coop and that they get the concept of this is where we sleep. So other than that, you're ready to get off and running with your birds. Feel free to ask any other questions you have in the comments. I am on those comments like white on rice, so usually within about 30 seconds, unless I'm sleeping, you get an answer if you have a question. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you get the notifications, and we'll see you guys in the next one.